Here's question number one. How many of you were converted by watching a video or seeing a list of like 10 reasons why atheists are moral or anything like that?
Well, first of all, I can't speak for everyone, so that's really poor phrasing on your part. I can't speak for all atheists, which is what you're kind of asking us to do in that question. I realize that you just worded it poorly. It wasn't actually that you were asking me to speak for everybody, but still, I like to be a dick when I can. The thing is that I understand the real question here. I'm not going to answer the direct question because I understand that's not the question really being asked. You're asking, is our time spent here making these videos valuable? Because none of us have probably ever been converted by a video. You know the answer to that question is no. No one saw YouTube and said, oh my God, atheism. Well, that's an ironic statement, but you get what I mean. The thing here is that you have to understand is that it's not about someone seeing a video and eureka! It's about a gradual process of erosion here. If you have a theist and they already have natural doubts about their faith, as many theists do, they see these atheism videos on YouTube, they start to hear these points brought up, and maybe you know, at first it's just, you know, oh God, they're talking about religion, oh my fucking Jesus. But as things progress, it's like the rocks on the shore being eroded by the waves. They're sculpted into something new as reason slowly overtakes that embedded religion, that embedded religiosity. And that's what I think the purpose of these things serves. It also serves to supplement the faith of, well, the quote-unquote faith of atheists. It's here to strengthen our resolve, make us feel better about who we are and what we believe or don't believe.
Question number two. How many of you go out and look for videos or lists on the internet compiled by theists and actually consider the points they're making rather than just trying to refute them?
And again, with the how many of you, as if any one of us can speak for all of us. Once again, I know what you meant, but once again, I choose to be a dick. The thing you have to understand about this is most of us were Christians at one time. Not me personally, but most of us. And myself, I wanted to be a Christian for a long time because that's how I felt like I could fit in. And so a lot of people who were Christian, I think, wanted, at least for a certain point in their life, to go back to that. And I, when I was younger and a little bit more impressionable and a little bit more desirous of social acceptance, wanted to accept these things as to be reality. So we inundated ourselves with this stuff, trying to make ourselves accept it, trying to say, okay, this is how it is, reason doesn't work here, I have to suspend reason, but then we can't do it. We just start saying, well, no, because this and that and the other, and it just doesn't work. So there's no going, we can't look at this stuff without tearing it apart. It's just too fucking ridiculous. We go into it every single time. I don't think that atheists go to Christian arguments and say, ooh, I'm going to get this argument and tear it apart. I think we really honestly go into a lot of these arguments saying, well, let's see what this person has to say. Let's see if there is some new argument here, some new information, something that would really just open my eyes to what these people see in this religion. And time again, we discover that there's not. It's the same argument being repackaged over and over again, and it always boils down to, you gotta have faith. And we just don't. Not in that. Sorry. So I don't think that we're as cynical as you maybe portray us. And I know that you are an atheist or an agnostic, so... But I still see what you were trying to do with the question, and I really think that it's... you know, it's a question that a lot of theists ask because they want to seem like they're just being picked on by us mean atheists, but really they're the ones who have tried to turn this into a debate because they feel that reason is their enemy. And it is, because when people start looking to reason rather than religion, the collection plate doesn't get filled quite as quickly, and that's a terrible thing. So they fill their parishioners full of hatred for reason because they know that reason is going to be their downfall. And for people like me and the other YouTube atheists and other atheists around the world, we feel like they're the ones that started this fight. They're certainly the ones in the majority. They're certainly the ones that are trying to argue in scientific standards, hence this whole intelligent design farce. And as long as that's the case, as long as they try to come at us using reason against us as if they had any idea how to wield it, as if reason is just, reason takes its own course. Reason is not going to be wielded by anyone like a weapon, especially not these fuckers. I mean, they don't even have a sturdy premise. They're trying to justify something with the foundation of air. It's just not fucking there. It's one thing to build a false premise on top of a solid foundation, but they just have no foundation whatsoever, and they're trying to build all these false premises upon those. So, anyway, I've rambled on too long about this question. I think you see where I'm going with this. If not, I can ramble some more.
Question number 3. Do you ever think it's possible to achieve a world where everybody's atheist, and what are the necessary ingredients to accomplish that?
Well, I don't know if it would be much better if people were atheists, per se, but I think that organized religion, and religion, when it is able to be used as a means to justify things, needs to go. I don't think that people should be able to say, well, I believe that abortion is wrong because my sky daddy said so, and that's going to be the end-all argument. That's just not going to fucking happen in any sort of rational world. I don't have any problem with irrationality. I allow myself plenty of irrationalities. The difference is that I don't think that I can justify an action with an irrationality. I can't go and fuck my neighbor's dog and then say, well, I did it because, the magical man that lives in my head told me so. And I don't think you guys should arrest me because dog fucking is integral to my beliefs that I formulated. So it's not really a matter of not having any faith or religion or anything like that, or never being irrational. It's more a matter of recognizing irrationalities, recognizing their function in our lives, and consigning them to the areas where they are the most harmless. And as long as religion is treated with this false respect, and treated as if it should be placed on the same level as science and history and art and all these other academic pursuits, as long as that is the case, humanity is in trouble. And that's what we really need to put an end to.
Question number 4. Do you believe that being an atheist leads you to a particular worldview that has a necessary morality, view of the purpose of society and politics and such, or do you think that these things are entirely unrelated?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that they're entirely unrelated. However, you do see too much variance in the beliefs of individual atheists to assume any sort of inherent morality that springs forth from atheism. But the thing is that nature already takes care of that for us. We're given an inherent moral instinct by nature. And maybe you weren't talking so much about morality as you were about political beliefs, but you addressed that in a later question, so I'm not going to get too much into it here.
Question 5, I think. Do you think it is possible to live in harmony with people who have different beliefs about the world?
Well, anyone who answers no to this question is a fucking imbecile. And your intelligence should maybe be brought into question a little bit for even asking it. Isn't America a testament to that? I mean, we haven't had a civil war in a while, last I checked, and it wasn't, that was more about economics than it was about ideas, despite what the school history books might tell you. So I think, we have a huge range of ideas in this country in the mainstream. We have everyone from the far right, the far left, the fucking flip-flopping centrist, and you can turn on any channel of your television and probably hear a different viewpoint or see a different viewpoint enacted in the moral subtext of any given television show, any given television program. So we already live in such a culture. This is a stupid fucking question.
7? I don't know. Whatever question this is for a person who has an inclination to be very spiritual and uncritical thinking, someone who would tend to be a theist, is it okay to use indoctrination techniques to change their mind to an atheist viewpoint? If so, why? And if not, why not?
I think the far wiser course of action in that instance is to make sure that the other people in this world, the rational people, can recognize these people when they see them, and people are taught to not pay much respect to those kind of people. And we have an idiot in the White House right now because people don't understand that lesson. People have this suicidal drive to put, what they consider everyday folk in these positions of power, and that's completely imbecilic, and we don't need to try to get rid of those kind of people or to try to make them think a certain way, because that's a recipe for disaster. What we need to do is teach everyday people who have a lick of common sense that these people are not good leaders. They're not good to have in any sort of position of power, in any sort of position where they can exercise even the slightest influence.
Oh, and one last question. Do you find more affinity with someone who maybe has a different view of the existence of God than you do, who would vote the same way in a political race, or more affinity with somebody who shares the same idea that God does not exist as you do, but yet would vote entirely opposite of you in a political race?
Well, I mean, that depends on the issue. I mean, if we're talking about an issue like, well, which economic model do you think works best? Then obviously I'm going to be more concerned with whether or not they believe in a magical man that lives in the sky. But if the position is like, I think murdering people's okay, then I don't really care if that person happens to be an atheist. I'll take the Christian that doesn't think murdering is okay, obviously. But if we talk about overall political philosophies, it really depends on the party. I mean, if someone is a Democrat and they happen to be very socially liberal, and they are a Christian and they're moderate in their Christian stance, then I can get along with that person a lot better than I could a hardline, fuck civil liberties conservative who happens to be an atheist for whatever reason. So it's got to be case by case. I can't just give you an overall answer. I have to be put in the situation, have to see the people, have to know exactly what issues we deviate on and which issues we don't before I can answer that question anywhere near honestly.